right, a beautiful afternoon to you. You're welcome to your favorite social media program, The Buzz. I am Rose Blossom. And of course, today is the day we still talk about the affairs of the country and, of course, the state of the country. I have my guest with me. Mazi is busy enjoying himself in his village, so he could not be here today. But we have Chris Zulum. It's good to have you in the studio. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, it's good to have me again.
It's good to have you again. Thank you for coming. Okay, so of course, to be part of the show, you can actually call in or you can send a text message to the number displayed below your screen TV, and make sure you do indicate your name and where you're texting from. And if you're calling, would have to know your name and where you're calling from. Of course, you're welcome to be part of the show. And for those who are on transit who want to watch this program live, you can actually download the Galaxy Television app from Google Play Store or Apple Play Store to watch this program live. Yes, you're welcome again to the show. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about today is let's talk about the information minister. Stating this is Ondo State Governor Zulum stating that information minister is naive of the happenings in the country. So I'm just going to read a brief story about it. And now the Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has criticized the Minister of Information, Mohammed, describing him as naive about the country security realities following a deadly Boko Haram attack on the Dambwa Maiduguri road that was during the weekend. Now, the explosion, which occurred on the major road linking the state capital, Maiduguri, to Dambwa, killed at least 8 people, severely injured 7 others, and left 14 more with minor injuries. It is the latest in the series of attacks by Boko Haram insurgents, underscoring the persistent security challenges in the region. Zulum, reacting after the incident, faulted the minister's recent remark on the state security. He urged a greater resilience from both the affected communities and the Nigerian army, calling for sustained effort to secure the volatile road. Now, despite the attack, Zulum reaffirmed that the state government is committed to ensuring the safety of the Maiduguri Dambwa route. Zulum expressed confidence that Borno would not return to the height of insecurity seen in previous years. He also emphasized a continued collaboration with the federal government and the military to address the state security concerns. My concern is, his concern basically is the fact that he believes that information minister does not even understand what's going on in Borno, and stating the fact that he's naive. But for a fact, I don't want to believe that information minister is naive, but I think he's just trying to be maybe a bit polite about the situation. Or what would you have it be?
Okay, fine. Basically, we are in a very tense political thing in the country at the moment. And good to know that they are both from the APC. So, all right. So the information minister thought that the governor of Borno making such statement at this time we amount to a political negative to the APC. All right. So he was trying. His thought was that the governor was being sensitive to the party popularity and all of that.
Oh, okay.
So the opposition might take advantage of that, to criticize the government and all of that. It's not as they're not aware that things are happening, right? But on the other hand, the Borno State governor, knowing that his people are being attacked, all right, also spoke out from that passion, from that feel, all right, to also say that look, things are the killing is
way too much,
and all of that. But at the same time, I think the Minister of Information was also trying to picture a scenario whereby to also try to emphasize that the insecurity, the terrorism has actually degraded from what it used to be. All right. So if the governor is saying what he's saying now is trying to undermine the fact that some level of success has been achieved. All right. So he's fighting from another end. So they are both coming from 2 different points, actually. So the Minister of Information is trying to calm down what the governor is saying, is just to try to give attention to the fact that situation is not as bad as it used to be. So don't roll the credit away and all of that. Yeah. But the governor too was thinking that he is insensitive to the people that have been killed and all that.
Right.
But to bring it to a balance, yes, it is true that people were killed in Bono, and then that's not acceptable.
Right.
That is a feeling. Right? So, and the government has a right to cry out.
Of course.
Because people are being killed. These are Nigerians. These are people of Bono, and they felt their pain. Right? It's closer to them to feel their pain and all of that. And then to be frank, these are unnecessary killings. These are avoidable killings. Okay? So I understand where the Bono State governor was coming from. And to some extent, too, I also want to share the sympathy or the sentiment of the Minister of Information to say, look, let's not misinform the public. Yes, there are some killings.
Welcome back. Yes, sir. Welcome back from the commercial break. Okay, you were actually making a point about what's going on. I wanted to even ask a question. Okay. So let me just ask that so you can continue from there. For a fact that the information minister is trying to, like you said, he's looking at it from the political angle. But I feel that and I know that when something has to do with lives, you shouldn't be playing politics. Rather, you should be, be more concerned about the lives involved, because it's like you're trying to downplay something, and this is actually what's happening. Right.
Well, actually, it's not just about the politics. It's also about the feeler that you are giving to the international community. Because we're also looking at Nigeria as being an investment destination. If you're going to push the narrative of the nation being insecure, all right, then you also be scaring potential investors away. All right, so you also need to manage a lot of stuff. I remember when Dora Akimi was Minister of Information back then.
Yes.
And she was talking about how the Nigerian media should censor some information that goes out there, all right, just to protect the image of the nation, all right, as against international perception. Now, she spoke about even her own personal incident at the airport in a particular country that our bus was jacked,
All right, yes, welcome back from another commercial break. Apologies for always, cutting you in between, but please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to say that the Minister of Information was just trying to manage the international image of the nation, all right? Because if you push a narrative to the public and to the international community of how unsafe Nigeria is, it might do some kind of damage in terms of patronage, in terms of investments, investors coming to Nigeria and all of that. And I tried to cite the example of Dora when she was information minister. And she cited her own example of when, I think it was in Brazil or somewhere, that she was robbed at the airport. She reported it to the relevant authorities there. Minister comes from Nigeria, so it was a big deal at the airport at that time. But she was waiting that hoping that to come up in their news. It never came up in their news. But ordinarily, should have been breaking news.
Yeah.
That a minister
from another country was robbed.
But they silenced it. They silenced it, and it was intentional. Just to preserve the image of the country. To the global community and all of that. So sometimes you have to censor what you put out there to also guide your own image. Okay. So I thought that was what the Minister of Information was
trying to do.
To say, look, do not overblow this. Yeah, we understand that some killings happen, but let not overshadow the good work that also been recorded in that regard as well. So they didn't have a good communication line to the synergy sort of to understand where they were coming from.
Right.
So it turned out to look like an argument and all of that. So it's just a bit of misunderstanding.
I just feel like at this point, leaders should not be having such misunderstanding. Imagine the information minister saying one thing and you're having the governor coming out to say another thing. It is very confusing, and exactly, that's my point. So even if while the information minister was trying to do something to protect the image of Nigerians, internationally, now the governor coming out to also beat that is definitely not selling us out properly. I just believe that sometimes before you even probably make such statement, I believe the information minister should have communicated with the governor.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Rather than bringing it out, because trust me, he's the governor. He wants to say something about that. But anyways, let's move on to the next one.
But sorry, just before you move on to
okay, all right.
I thought I wanted to say something fundamental about the insecurity of terrorism and banditry and all of we're seeing escalating all over again. We're seeing it too and all of that. But for a start, this whole thing came to what it is today because of an hidden agenda that got overblown. All right, it all started at some form of hidden agenda. All right, to use as political tool. Okay, to to swing flow power here and there. And now look at what it has done. It has killed thousands and thousands of innocent Nigerians, all right? And there's not been that much of that political will to really deal with this issue. Because you discovered at some point, if you're trying to go all out against this insurgency, terrorism, banditry, whatever, you'll be hurting certain people. All right? And these are people that are using this as a tool. All right? So so the government cannot even go all out against them. Because it's like a syndicate war. It's terrible, it's difficult. So there's also that issue of that political will, okay, that is also being checkmated. Then the stakeholders, we've had issues where emirs are arrested, emirs are seen to be supporting banditry, terrorism, and all of that. So the complexity is horrible. The difficulty is fighting is terrible. There are even people on the street that do some kind of cover for them. A woman was caught one time. She was selling bread, and inside the bread are guns, bullets, and all of that.
Oh, wow.
They use
that to smuggle in.
Smuggle stuff to walk around that. So you see, it's all compromising and all of that. There's so much complexity around it. So to fighting it becomes very, very difficult. And of course, yes, there's still that place of the military compromising too. All right? Because, okay, like what happened in place of recent now, those guys came to kill and they killed during the day. And were there for 1 hour, 30 minutes.
And nothing.
The security officer could not show up. So there's some compromise somewhere. So that's why it's so difficult to fight. It's so difficult to fight because the level of compromise is deep and the spread is wide. All right, so you don't even know who to trust. Sometimes the people you are working with are actually working with the terrorists.
The terrorists, true.
So it's a whole lot of nonsense. So, but bottom line is that it's an agenda, and then the religious leaders, the traditional leaders, and then the political stakeholders there. If they will repent and be human for once, all right, then they are the ones that can really bring this to an end. But in as much there's still some kind of capital, the harvest from it, it's going to be difficult to put an end to all of this. Well, the people are just pawn in their hands.
Exactly, because look at what keeps happening when there is an insurgency. Anyways, let's